Hey there, I'm Eliza with Ancestral Evolution, and today we are going to make a steak and kidney pie. So this is not your traditional steak and kidney pie. We are doing a Ketovore version of the steak and kidney pie. There are a couple problems with the traditional pie. That is, we've got a top crust made with wheat flour, and also a significant amount of flour is used kind of as a thickener in the inside of the pie. So we'll show you our strategies to get around these things. Beef kidney, like beef liver, is a nutritional powerhouse. It has large amounts of lots of B vitamins, including riboflavin, B6, B12, folate, niacin, also iron, copper, zinc, and selenium, just to name a few. So this is a really nutrient-dense organ, so we're trying to find more ways to incorporate kidney into our diet, and we thought we'd try out the steak and kidney pie. So come along with us. Here we go. All right, so here is our beef kidney, and I just took the surrounding fat off of it and I have it rendering in the slow cooker. But this is one beef kidney here, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut it in half, kind of lengthwise here, and we're gonna take out the core. I'll show you what I mean. Let's see. Kind of sideways. This kidney has kind of a fatty core in here. We're just going to cut out kind of as much of this as we can. And then we're going to chop the rest of the kidney into sort of small bite-sized pieces. However big you want your pieces in your pie to be. All right, so we've got about half of our kidney chopped up into pretty nice, like smallish pieces here. And for this recipe, I really only need half a pound. So I'm gonna weigh this and see how much we got. All right, it's just about a half a pound on the nose. So 1/2 kidney here. All right, so to prepare our kidney, I'm going to take the pieces of kidney that we just diced up and stick them in a bowl of filtered water. Here. And to this water, I'm just going to add a generous dollop of white vinegar. This just kind of helps neutralize the kind of urea compounds in the kidney and just make it taste better generally. Some people use buttermilk or lemon juice, something like that. Basically something acidic. And I'm just going to kind of stir this up. And I'm gonna let this sit for about an hour. All right, so here is our beef kidney, and I just rinsed this. I drained the water and rinsed it under some clean water and just drained it out here. I also have about 1.5 pounds of beef stew meat, and I just diced it up so they're in kind of like bite-sized pieces. And I got some other things too. So first thing we're gonna heat up our pan. Yeah, and I'm working with cast iron for this because I wanted something with more surface area with the lid, and that also had better heat distribution. About 2 tablespoons of beef tallow. Just let that melt here. Next I'm gonna add 1 onion that I've just diced and 2 cloves of fresh garlic. I've got 1 carrot that's cut up into kind of bite-sized pieces. However big you want your pieces to be in your pie. I'm going to put in our kidney. Right. And I'm going to put in our steak. I'm just going to kind of get these guys brown for a little bit, and then we're going to add some other seasonings here. All right. To this, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoon of salt, about 1/2 teaspoon of mace, some ground pepper. I'm gonna add about 1 cup of water here. I'm just gonna bring this back to a boil, and then I'm going to turn the heat down and just simmer it and put the lid on it, and we're gonna simmer it for about 2 hours. All right, so our steak and kidney has been cooking for about 2 hours, and I also let it cook a little bit with the top off just to evaporate a little bit more of the liquid in here. Now we're going to thicken it up even more with a little bit of cream cheese. So I've got here about 4 ounces of cream cheese, and we're just going to add this in here and kind of melt it into our gravy. And this is kind of going to be our substitute for the wheat flour that's usually used as kind of a thickener in this dish. So, all right, now we've got our sauce kind of a little bit more thickened up. I'm just gonna transfer all of this into this deep dish pie pan and just let it cool off the rest of the way. All right, so I preheated the oven to 400 degrees, and now it's time for our crust. So for this crust, I'm making a modified fathead dough crust. And I've got a 1.5 cups of mild cheddar cheese that's just shredded and about 2 ounces of cream cheese. So I'm just gonna stick this in the microwave for about 1.5 minutes. All right, so I'm just gonna mix this up here. I'm gonna add 3/4 cup of almond flour. This is super fine blanched almond flour. I've got some parchment paper here. Just gonna transfer this to the parchment paper. Now I'm gonna put another piece of parchment paper on top. Just kind of flatten it out a little bit with my hands. And then use my rolling pin. And we're just aiming to get this to be a little bit bigger than the top of our pie pan. Because again, this is just a top crust, not a bottom crust. Though I suppose you can make a bottom crust too if you wanted to. All right, voila. I'm just gonna take a knife and cut a couple little vent holes in here. Now we get to put it on our pie. So our pie is pretty much all the way cooled off at this point. And I'm going to hopefully transfer this on top of here. All right. And then I'm just gonna kind of crimp the edges around the edge of the pan as best I can. All right, I'm just gonna stick this in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes until the top is nice and crispy. Here's our pie, yay. All right, so I just took this out of the oven and let it cool off for just a couple minutes. I'm just gonna cut a little piece out of here. Right, looks pretty yummy. The cream cheese really does do a pretty good job of kind of thickening this up enough to where it's not super, super runny and watery. So yeah, let's take a taste. A piece of kidney here. That's really good. Really good. I could eat kidney every day if it was like this. So, if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Also check out our classes on Skillshare if you haven't done so. All right, we'll see you next time.